The following program is sponsored by PokerStars.net. This week on The Big Game, billionaire circus tycoon Guy Laliberte took on high-stakes regular Bob Voulgaris. And with over $40K in the pot, he made it another 30 grand at the end.
Just 2 chips? Is that all it is?
But with just the low end of a straight and a scary board, Bob didn't flinch.
All right.
He scooped the pot and steadied his nerves.
Put the pressure on me every time.
And it's been non-stop action for loose cannon Carrie Burchell. He's made big bluffs.
That is a little too much. Darn, I'm gonna fold.
And bigger calls.
Oh.
Wow.
Ooh. I think that sends a message a little bit, right?
She's picking on me, I think.
Picking on you? She saw you on TV. You're the mark at the table.
Can this cannon keep making all the right moves? Find out tonight on The Big Game.
Oh, hey, buddy, what's going on?
This is the PokerStars.net Big Game.
Hello and welcome to The Big Game from Las Vegas, Nevada. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Scott Huff. And tonight there's almost $1 million in cash on the table as some of the toughest players in the world have come to battle here in our state-of-the-art poker room.
2010 main event winner Jonathan Duhamel is stuck but smiling, realizing he can never again complain about anything, ever.
Guy Laliberte is stuck 58 grand, but he's the billionaire creator of Cirque du Soleil, so he's probably not on tilt.
Bob Voulgaris is an experienced high-stakes cash game player. He's talked a good game and played one as well, up the most, 87K.
There'll be no sleep for Brooklyn's Eugene Kachaloff. He's down 13 dimes so far.
And this is our loose cannon Carrie Burchell, who's overcome a childhood congenital heart defect and shown plenty of heart so far this week. She's used to playing Hold'em at $1, $2 stakes, but you'd never know it. She's up 26 dimes.
Our final player is 24-year-old poker phenom Jason Mercier. He's down about 7 grand, and right now he's with Amanda Leatherman.
Jason, you seem to be having a lot of fun out there this week. Is this your type of action game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guys that I'm playing against, they're a ton of fun. You know, I really like Bob and Eugene, and, you know, I recently met Jonathan. He's a really nice guy. And Guy is, you know, a really nice guy, and he's gambling a bit. So, I mean, it's an awesome game, and I'm enjoying it.
All right, what do you think of the loose cannon's play so far?
She's playing really well. You know, she's not afraid to make a big call, so I don't think she wants to be bluffed. So, yeah, you're going to have to make a hand if you're going to try to bomb it in on her.
All right, we'll watch out for her. Good luck.
Thanks.
Here's another look at the loose cannon rules. Each cannon is staked $100,000 to play. They keep all winnings above the initial $100K, and the loose cannon who's won the most money at season's end earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50,000.
Right now, the leading loose cannon to beat is Italian Massimiliano Martinez, and he set the bar high at over 163K. If Carrie does beat him, I'm sure the show will immediately be canceled in Italy. But Carrie isn't the only amateur at the table today. Guy's the guy who became a billionaire creating Cirque du Soleil and decided to learn poker in Bobby's room at Bellagio. It's the first time he's played poker on TV since 2008.
Did they teach him to raise with King 4 at Bellagio? Because that's what he just did to 1,400. Bob is out and Kachaloff calls.
Under the gun, yes, specifically. That's what he learned there.
Burchell folds. Duhamel makes the call out of the small blind, and Jason Mercier's in with the ace-4.
Funny how little respect an under-the-gun raise gets when it's coming from a billionaire.
Flop 9-4 deuce, couple of hearts. Mercier with middle pair and the nut flush draw. And Duhamel checks.
My guess is Jason may want to start building a pot.
Looks like he guessed right. He bets 2,600.
He's got middle pair as well, but he's dominated.
He was the pre-flop aggressor. Looks like he's just calling here over to Eugene.
Really not a horrible flop for 2-5s, but a bet and a call in front of him.
He kicks them in. And Duhamel's out.
Mercier the slight favorite, Guy the slight underdog.
To the turn, 7 of diamonds, no help to Guy.
Missed both players.
Jason checks.
Slowing down now.
Looks like Guy might be speeding up. Bets out 6,200 with his pair.
Guy might think Jason's given up. No shot, he folds.
Jason makes the call.
The king of clubs was folded. The king of hearts will make Jason his flush. Guy's down to 1 out.
And there it is, the king of diamonds. Guy makes 2 pair. Mercier checks.
Cirque du Soleil's newest show, value.
And Guy bets out 17-7.
It's going to be a long tank again.
Oh, here we go.
He's even got water prepared this time. Now, some of you might be going, what tank? You've got a pair of 4s, let him go. Jason made a good call in the turn, and if he's made a read that Guy's got a bad 4 that he turned into a bluff, he'd be somewhat right. It's also possible that Jason thinks Guy may have made a good read himself, putting Jason on hearts, and is just barreling because the heart didn't hit.
17-7.
I feel like this is what it was like watching Einstein work through the theory of relativity. I feel so blessed sitting here with Jason as he's like figuring out what's going on.
Funny as that is, Bob, Jason's in a hand right now.
It's like being with a master.
Figured out what I can beat. Now I'm figuring out what you have. Or what I think you have if you're not bluffing. Value range, bluff range.
Poker humor. It's the nuts.
Value range, king 9, 9-7. A set somehow.
I liked it better when you're figuring out what you could beat. It's more exciting to me.
I can beat 3-5 and like ace 5.
3-5. That's tough to beat. 3-5.
Yeah, I know.
Not low.
Yeah. Worst hand possible. Can beat all missed heart draws as long as you don't have a king in there.
So cute. Jason's doing his impression of Daniel Negreanu.
17-7.
If you care at all about being good at poker, it's pretty amazing to watch these guys do this, like a nature show.
I think Guy's got a trank gun under the table.
By the way, Tony G'd be having a heart attack right now.
Yeah, I know.
He'd be going insane.
And Mercier's going to let it go.
You're the one who got bust.
What?
Qua?
You had the nut flush draw?
Yeah. Oh, me? No. I had the nut flush. Ace 4 hearts, yeah. Good fold?
I think, yeah. I draw on all of you.
You drew out? Oh, you had a king high flush draw?
No, I had 2 pairs with kings.
Oh, okay, okay.
King 4.
King 4.
Suited.
So as Guy takes down the first hand of the night, let's go over the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit and becomes no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. And every player begins with at least 100,000 but can rebuy for up to 500K.
The big rule change this season is that our loose cannon cannot come back after they've played the week's 150 hands.
I had king 7 of clubs. I always Donkey Kong. I like that Donkey Kong.
Bob's talking about leading into the aggressor, or it's a joke about firing barrels.
Lucky it wasn't a 4. Ooh, 4 would have been a good card for you.
Action will start on Bob. Ace tray. Lets it go. Eugene out. Loose cannon Carrie Burchell, 8-7 of clubs.
A fine hand to play in late position, but she's going to want to come in raising.
And she does. Raises to 1,700. Duhamel, a couple of 4s on the button.
Duhamel in late est position.
And he will just call. Mercier out. And Guy with the trade deuce lets it go.
Statistically, these two are racing if they see all 5 cards, but Carrie's out of position, and if she catches a pair, it'll be tough to tell it's the best hand.
9, 10, 5 on the flop. Couple of spades. Burchell is up and down. Duhamel's pair still good, and the cannon checks.
I think the cannon probably should have bet there. We know he may have called for just 1 bet, but there's a chance he wouldn't, and she can start building a pot in case her card hits.
Duhamel fires 2,300.
Carrie's also now given up the lead.
And she'll make the call. These two have just not been able to stay out of each other's way this week. Turn. King of spades. No help to either player. Burchell checks.
The board gets worse looking for 2 4s, though technically Duhamel picked up more equity with his spade draw.
And Duhamel will check. To the river. 10 of diamonds.
Duhamel did give up the betting lead on the last street, but Carrie leading out here might look strange to Jonathan.
Well, she's missed everything, but still fires out 6,200.
I think she just gave him a stroke. This bet might look weird, but Duhamel can't even beat bottom pair on board.
And he'll let it go. Carrie pulls off another bluff. She'll drag a pot worth $15,400 and add to her profit.
Interior, Jerry, Elaine, Kramer, and George are all sitting in the coffee shop. Speaking of, Carrie's been a real master of her domain, getting all kinds of credit.
And the action will start on Carrie here. Cannon, 8-4. Chucks it in. Duhamel out. Jason Mercier with the 8-5. Why not put in a raise to 1,200? And Guy quickly calls with the king-queen.
I heart king-queen. It's the nut connector. Don't laugh. And it makes a great top pair.
King-3 for Bob. He's out. 10-9 for Eugene. Repops it to 4,600. Jason quickly out.
44 more? 34 more. Okay, let's see. Let's hit a flop. I like my button.
Always a showman.
Guy makes the call.
No, maybe I'm starting to regret. Thought it was 33, 34, which is like the price I was not ready to pay.
Flop ace, ace-7, rainbow.
Eugene's trying to play a bigger pot with a quote-unquote amateur. Let's see how big he wants it to get with the 2 aces out there.
Eugene checks.
Guy does have the best hand, the nut-nothing, if you will.
And he checks. Jack of diamonds on the turn.
Guy picks up a gut shot, as does Eugene. Eugene has one of Guy's blockers.
And Eugene fires out 5,600.
Looks like Eugene might not think Guy would check an ace on that flop. Now, before everyone goes calling Guy a donk for thinking about making this call, hands are usually polarized when there's 2 aces on board, so if Eugene's bluffing, which he is, then Guy would be ahead, which he is. And if Eugene does have an ace, Guy still has gut shot outs.
Guy makes the call.
Nice read by the billionaire.
So we'll see a river. Tray of spades, and that was such a brick you could hear it. Kachelov checks.
Check.
You got it.
No, whoa. I just asked a question. Check.
Check as a question.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I was betting, but
He said you got it, so he's probably going to win if you bet.
You can bet 500, Guy.
okay.
I haven't worked through the hand yet like Jason has, but...
And after an odd little moment, Guy will take down the pot, shows the king-queen.
Good.
I was beating you, right? I was ahead.
You were. Quick, you got it.
See, king-queen wins even when it's the nut-nothing.
That's right, king-queen takes the money, and La Liberte got Kachelov. And we're just getting started. There's plenty more action when we return here on The Big Game. Welcome back to Las Vegas and The Big Game, where amateur Carrie Burchell has been staked $100 grand to play against a table of seasoned vets.
You ever play any poker tournaments?
Not any real big ones, just small local.
Smaller ones.
Action will start here on Bob Vulgaris.
Bob's still not convinced Carrie's an amateur.
Looks down at Jack Deuce of diamonds. Lets it go. Kachelov, Trey Deuce of clubs. Raises to 1,200. King Queen for the cannon. Shuffle the deck.
King Queen is poker's original power couple, like Brangelina. Maybe we can call it Keen or Quing.
Well, she's calling it a 3-bet. Makes it 4,300. Duhamel quickly out. King 10 of diamonds from Mercier. And he folds. La Liberte, ace 9 of clubs in the big blind. And he makes the call.
Eugene was raising Guy's big blind. Now he's got 2 amateurs for the price of 1.
Makes the call.
I mean amateurs in the literal sense, not figuratively like amateur hour. They've both been playing very well.
So we'll have 3-way action to the flop. 8, 10, 6, couple of hearts. Guy flops a gut shot, but his ace-high is still good so far. Checks.
Should check around to the 3-better.
It looks like it does. Over to Burchell.
What's it going to be now, loose cannon? Give up because you missed?
Not likely, Joe.
Burchell, more like bombshell because she knows how to bomb it.
Makes it 11,100.
Guy actually had less when he floated the last flop with King-Queen.
Can be tough to bluff a billionaire. She does. And Kachelov out.
Carrie takes it down with Quing.
That's right. Her C-bet gets La Liberte and Kachelov to go away quietly. And although the quiet Kachelov doesn't say much himself, everyone in the poker community can't stop talking about this talented pro.
Eugene has taken the poker world by storm the last few years. He just keeps getting better.
I think that he plays the game the right way. I think that he has a lot of talent. Eugene is clearly one of the best unknown poker players in the world. Eugene is well respected by everyone, not just for his tournament prowess, but he's also a cash game winner. But he's really the real deal in every aspect.
To have great players talk so highly of me, it kind of confirms all my thoughts that, maybe I'm doing something right. It makes me feel like I'm actually succeeding in poker and makes me want to continue. I expect things like this to come and TV shows and other types of offers to come as I get better and as I get more results. So I guess the more you win, the more recognized you'll be. I'm gonna add money.
Great, Eugene's adding on another 100K. Now he can pull the move I pitched him.
What?
Well, I was born in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Well, I told him his catchphrase should be, I'm going to make it Ukraine in here. Like make it rain.
Yeah, I got it.
That's exactly what he said.
Actual start here on Kerry Burchell with 6 tray. Folds. Duhamel, 7-5. And he's out. Jason Mercier, 8 deuce of spades. Bumps it to 1,200.
Getting loose in the cutoff.
Guy on the button with ace-queen. That looks like a 3-bet to 4,300.
Guy's punishing Jason's loose cutoff range.
Bob folds the jack-6 over to Eugene. King-queen, I'm asking for a setup.
Queen again, suited this time. I heart king-queen suited even more. It's a hand so good, it's like getting 3 cards.
Eugene agrees, makes the call. Mercier out.
Unfortunately, right now, Queen is dominated.
So it's Guy and Eugene to the flop again. Ace, 8-3, couple of clubs. Eugene flops a flush draw and checks it.
Top pair versus nut flush draw, yes.
Guy fires 7,600.
Well, Eugene certainly isn't folding, and he might even be considering a raise. If Guy's actually ahead, which he is, Eugene's got a lot of equity. If Guy's bluffing, the king-queen high could be the best hand. He knows Guy doesn't necessarily have to have an ace to bet this flop, but Guy did 3-bet pre-flop, so that narrows his range quite a bit.
And Kachelov just calls.
Queen never loses, by the way, Scott.
Turn. King of diamonds, now Kachelov with a pair. Checks.
Eugene's caught up a bit, but still isn't beating an ace. Guy should be able to bet this again.
Check.
But he checks it.
Guy is pocket trolling in a spot that doesn't really need it. Pretty unlikely that king changed anything.
4 of spades on the end, no flush for Eugene.
I guess Guy's check will maybe convince Eugene it's safe to bet now.
He does.
Call.
And is insta-called.
Guy did make some money, but I think in the end, Eugene got off easier than if Guy had bet the turn. Who knows, though?
Guy will drag an almost $50,000 pot.
It's like, ace, king, whatever.
Not sure what Guy's mumbling about, but he's probably thrilled he beat king-queen. He's never supposed to lose. Queen.
Couldn't let that one go, huh?
Couldn't help but chase.
So Guy gets richer, which seems totally unfair, as he pips Kachelov's king-queen. Eugene with lots of time to try to get it back when the big game returns right after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas and the big game. There's over $1 million up for grabs on that felt as we cue the mood lighting.
Ooh, I like the light blue.
Thanks, Bob.
Very nice.
Thanks again, Bob.
Keep this one. Yeah, it does. I feel safe. I feel safe.
It's like they're playing on C-Lab. I keep expecting a dolphin to swim by on one of those panels.
Duhamel raises to 1,400 with a couple of 10s.
Jason's been riding the bench for a while. Looks like he's ready to get back in the game.
With 5-3, maybe.
It's a suited connector, Scott. Don't scoff.
Not scoffing. It's your job to judge. Raises to 4,300.
I was ready to play with you, Jonathan, but somebody got in and trashed the party.
Laliberte folds, as does Bob Vulgaris.
It's not a nice way to treat a guy just because you don't like the way he pronounces his last name.
Folds over to the cannon, who lets it go. Now it's back on Duhamel.
Well, he's definitely not folding.
He'll make the call.
Jason's a big dog, but he's got position.
And these two have won over $14 million combined in tournaments. 6-3-4 pair and a straight draw for Mercier.
From big dog to coin flip, that's the Jason Mercier story. No, literally, it should be the subtitle to his biography.
Duhamel checks.
Great spot for a C-bet. If Duhamel had air, Jason would likely win it here, but as it stands, if Jason bets, when he gets called, he'll have more than half the equity in this pot.
Mercier bets 5,100.
I said when Duhamel calls a second ago because I doubt we're going to see Jonathan fold for 1 bet in a 3-bet pot with no overcards on board.
You are correct, sir. He makes the call.
Jason, the champ is eyeballing you.
Turn 5 of clubs, 2 pair for Jason Mercier.
Jason Mercier runs good.
Duhamel checks.
Jason shouldn't be too afraid of the 4-card straight out there, but it does leave Duhamel with some counterfeit and chop outs, so Jason will probably want to bet here.
Wants to and does. Makes it 11,200 to go.
At this point, Duhamel laying it down gets a lot more reasonable. The board is pretty ugly, and he's likely to face another big bet on the river.
Duhamel lays it down.
Probably weren't expecting me to bet there, huh?
Yes and no.
Good fold.
So Mercier wins a medium-sized pot by being the luckiest guy ever.
Jason takes it down, and as we can see, he's scooped almost a quarter of the pot so far this week, but Mercier is still down 12 grand. Everyone else's stats are very close, within 4 percentage points of each other. I'm particularly impressed with our loose cannon Carrie Burchell, who has won her fair share of the pots at 16%. She's now sitting pretty in more ways than one, currently up over 39 grand and playing as good as anyone else on the felt.
Action will start on Jason Mercier with William and Kate.
Well, they are making the rounds like it's the royal wedding, but actually, Scott, they're a duke and duchess, not a king and a queen.
Mercier raises to 1,200.
With Quing.
Bob Vulgaris, Jack 6. Folds. 9-5. Kachalov out. Buchanan with 7-4. Makes the call.
Yikes, 7-4 offsuit, out of position. Misclick?
5 deuces spades for Duhamel. And he makes the call.
And right after I got done singing Carrie's praises, too. Woof.
6, king, 10, couple of spades. Top pair for Mercier. Duhamel with a flush draw.
Told you, king, queen makes a great top pair.
Burchell checks. Duhamel checks.
Checks his baby flush draw. No reason for Mercier not to bet this. He can start value betting right now.
He will. $2,600 worth.
Maybe Carrie's call was a pre-flop float, but this would be a bad time for her to try to make a move.
And she doesn't. Lets it go.
Duhamel and Mercier again. I'd expect Jonathan would want to take one off here.
Looks like you're right, Joe. He makes the call.
Mercier, get over yourself. It's Mercier.
Turn. Tray of diamonds.
Duhamel picks up a gut shot draw as well.
Checks it.
Mercier should be able to bet this again to keep Jonathan paying the draw. He'll come around to it eventually.
No quick decisions this week from Mercier. This no exception, but he does fire out 7,100.
This is a big bet, and even though he's picked up gut shot outs, Jonathan is not getting a great price to draw. A check raise could sometimes work in this spot as a way to just take it down or give himself a better price. Jason's given him a little better than 2-1, and as you can see, he's a 3-1 dog.
Duhamel makes the call. So he'll pay to draw. River, 5 of clubs.
This is probably the worst card possible for Duhamel, since it might get him to commit money to the losing hand.
Checks it again.
None of this should be too scary for Jason. Only 2-4 and 7-4 came in. Didn't Carrie fold 7-4 on the flop? Oof, too soon. Anyways, I'm not sure how much Duhamel will call off, if anything, but hey, that's Jason's job to decide, not mine. I just get to criticize him after.
Last chance for value here from Jason. Bets 18,700.
If we take this all the way back to the flop, Jason raised from pretty early position, and he's been betting the whole way. This would indicate strength, but it's also possible Jason would play a missed flush draw the same way. It just so happens that Jason probably has near the bottom, if not the bottom, of his range for value betting hands in this spot. Duhamel's never beating a value bet, but he is beating all Jason's bluffs.
And he seems to be having some trouble giving this one up.
Where is the scuba gear? Because Duhamel is in the tank. He's stuck pretty big today, and you can tell that he's just second, third, and fourth guessing himself. Fifth guessing. Sixth guessing.
Duhamel makes the call, finds out he's not a hero. Mercier is going to take it down.
It's not so much Mercier as it is Quing.
And Mercier is going to drag a pot worth $61,000.
It's only because somehow Mercier didn't win the main event, so now the poker gods are finding a way to get him some of that money. And like all good main event champions, Jonathan Duhamel giving back to the poker community.
I hate you.
What?
I hate you.
Folks, hate is a strong word, but then again, that was a strong river bet from Jason Mercier. We'll be right back with more Big Game after this.
I hate you.
Welcome back to Las Vegas and the Big Game, where Bob Voulgaris is our big winner so far, thanks mainly to that big hand where he flopped trips and river to straight against Guy last night. Our loose cannon is up over 37 grand, and Jason Mercier is up almost 18K.
Everyone else at the table is in the hole. Billionaire Guy Laliberte is down just 14K, while Eugene Kachalov has quietly dropped 50 large, and Duhamel just added on another 50K because he's now stuck 80 dimes.
Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Scott Huff. We've seen roughly half the hands this week, and now it's time to check the stats and break down the numbers. Joey?
Sure thing, Scott. First up is our loose cannon Carrie, who's been playing like she belongs in the Rain Man suite. In fact, if you compare some of Carrie's key numbers against the average of the other 5 nosebleeders at the table, you'll see what I mean. Her VPIP is just below the combined table average at 31%. Carrie is calling pre-flop raises 28% of the time, which is exactly the average of the remaining 5 players. And though the rest of the table has seen a flop 29% of the time, Burchell is just slightly behind at 26%. Those are some pretty big numbers for a loose cannon.
Well, Joe, Carrie doesn't seem to be intimidated at all by the players or by the high stakes.
She fits right in, Scott. In fact, if you removed her name from the top of her stat sheet, you may think she's just another pro. Now let's take a look at how aggressive this entire table has been playing after the flop. The majority of the table is in the same ballpark. Eugene Kachalov is the second most aggressive at 3.7, but what clearly stands out is that Jason Mercier is leading the pack with a 6.7 aggro factor. Jason is dominating the table in free betting. His VPIP shows us that he's playing nearly half the hands dealt, and his aggressive style has led him to win nearly a quarter of the total pots, though in tournaments, he usually wins about 97%.
Well, Jason really has asserted himself as the table captain throughout this week. But, Joe, what's with the 300-pound gorilla in the 4 seed?
I have no idea what that means, but Guy Laliberte is just your typical French-Canadian street performer turned billionaire space tourist action junkie. Action junkie, yes. Aggression junkie, no. Despite having the second highest VPIP at 38%, Guy is only raising pre-flop 15% of the time and retreating to passive play post-flop with the 5th lowest aggro factor of 1.4.
Well, it can't always be clowns and tightrops.
Oh, the Zoomanity.
Zoomanity's the sexy one, right, Joe?
Erotic, I believe is the word.
Actual starter in Duhamel, 6 tray, folds. Mercier, queen 5 of spades. He'll raise it, makes it 1,200.
That might look a little loose, but it's the cannon's big blind he's raising.
Laliberte out. Long look for Voulgaris with 5-4. Folds. And Eugene quickly out. Don't worry, the cannon will call. 10-8 of diamonds for Burchell.
That's a little bit of a loose defend.
Flop, queen, tray, 6, 2 hearts. Mercier with top pair again.
Go ahead.
Burchell checks, and Mercier checks.
Very sneaky.
10 of spades on the turn. Burchell with a pair. Checks again.
Good check.
Mercier fires 2,200.
This was a bad turn card for Carrie. She may think she has the best hand, but it would be pretty out of character for her to spaz out here.
And she doesn't, makes the call.
Playing cautiously.
River, 5 of diamonds. Mercier has 2 pair now.
Carrie River's a flush draw. Looks like she's loading up for a bet.
5,400.
Now Carrie comes out firing, and I don't really know what this bet is trying to do. It's tough to get called by worse, tough to bluff out better, So I'm not really sure what it's supposed to do, but what it's very likely to do is induce a raise.
There it is to 21,500.
Big raise. And Kerry made a very thin call with one pair when Duhamel tried to bluff her earlier in this session. Jason could be remembering that now and hoping she'll do the same thing here. It looks like Kerry might be getting leveled into thinking that Jason's just pushing her around.
We wouldn't know, though. We don't get the benefit of her inner monologue like we do with Jason every time.
Not everyone can be a Negreanu. Kerry bet less than half the pot on the river, which maybe she's starting to think Jason could have read as weak, and that he's just making a play. I think there's been enough clues that Jason's got a hand that Kerry should probably be able to get away from this. And at the moment, she's got less invested in this hand than the amount of this entire river bet. If she calls, her profit will be almost non-existent.
Call.
She calls.
You said call?
Listen.
And she's not going to like that.
Brutal. I give Jason a hard time for running good, but the kid knows how to play as well.
So Mercier takes it down, and our loose cannon takes a $25,000 hit to her stack, but says nice hand and moves on like she's just playing 1-2, Joe.
Classy.
Mercier now up over $42,000, while our loose cannon Kerry Burchell is now up only $7 grand. Can she rebuild her stack? Find out when we return right after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas and the big game where amateur loose cannon Kerry Burchell just took a massive hit to the profit she had accumulated, but we still have 72 hands left to play out in this week's 150-hand session.
She does still have a small profit, about 7K.
Action this time will start on the man who beat her out of that last pot, Jason Mercier. King 8, lets it go. Guy with 9-6, folds. Bob Vulgaris, 8 Trey, he's not interested either. Eugene Kachalov with King 3. On the button, raises to 1,200.
Crappy hand, but it was an unopened button.
9-6 for the cannon. Calls.
That call is at best questionable. Kerry may be coming unglued.
10-7 of hearts for the 2010 main event champion, Jonathan Duhamel. Raises from the big blind to 5,200. Kachalov out. And Kerry out.
At least she didn't throw good money after bad. The squeeze takes it down.
So 23-year-old Jonathan Duhamel takes down that little pot, but earlier tonight he played a big pot against 24-year-old Jason Mercier. What were they both thinking? Find out as we go behind the poker face.
At this point in the game, I've been playing a lot of hands and kind of building up some momentum.
Jason's been playing pretty aggressive, like we all expected.
I opened under the gun with king-queen off.
Now he's under the gun and raised to 1,200. Everybody folded to the loose cannon and the small blind who calls. I look at my card, 5 deuce suited, just figured out good hand just to try to make a big pot with, and I got like position on the loose cannon, so I just called.
The flop came king 10-6 with 2 spades. Carry check.
At that point I thought about maybe like betting, like maybe hoping Jason raised me so I can 3-bet him. But I just figured out that he is gonna call most of the time and I'm gonna be like stuck in the turn, so I just check.
So I bet 2,600. You know, obviously trying to get value. I can possibly even get 3 streets if the board runs out good.
Loose cannon full. At that point I thought about raising again, but I kind of felt that if he has a king or maybe even a 10, he's gonna call me there, so I'm gonna have to like bet pretty big on a turn and river to make him fold. So I just called there.
I'm pretty sure, you know, I have the best hand like 90-something% of the time.
Turn card is enough suit 3.
Which is a beautiful card because now I can definitely go for 3 streets.
Now I gotta check because the way the hand was played out. So I check and he bets, you know, good bet.
I made a little bigger of a bet than I probably normally would just because I felt like he was definitely gonna call the turn and maybe call the river. So I bet 7,100.
At that point I really didn't know what to do. He kind of knew I didn't have a pocket pair because I would call a lot faster pre-flop and I kind of hesitated before. So I really think he kind of knows I won't have a set. So I called there.
And then the river came in offsuit 5. It's such a great river card because, you know, every draw missed. Queen Jack missed, all spades, any gut shot pretty much missed. And he checked again, and I decided I was going to bet. and I bet 18,700, just hoping to get called.
I really thought that with a kind of a king jack, king queen hand, he's gonna check a lot of times. I kind of felt it was a semi-good time to make a kind of a crying call on the river, because I thought my hand could be good. There was like so many busted draws that he could have, and I kind of felt he's gonna probably check back kind of just a king, a pair there. So I called it, but he turned king queen for you know, top pair and queen kicker.
I think he called me pretty light, maybe with bottom pair, like a 6, but I'm not exactly sure what he had. But, you know, the hand played out perfectly for me.
A hand worked out perfectly for Jason Mercier. Were the cameras rolling? Did we get it on tape? I don't want to say Jason Mercier runs good, but I'm pretty sure he could win the New York Marathon.
Guy Laliberte with Jack 10. Raises to 1,400. Bob Vulgaris with Ace 10 of spades.
Bob's been relatively inactive lately. A big suited ace should be enough to wake him up.
Makes the call. Kanchelov pitches it. The cannon with Trey Deuce.
I don't hate it on the button. Carrie gets to see what everyone else is going to do before she has to act after the flop.
She makes the call. Duhamel out. Jason Mercier with Queen 4 lets it go. 3 players to the flop.
None of whom would claim to be professional poker players, so technically Carrie has the most bracelets.
10, 8, 7 rainbow. Bob and Guy both with top pair. Guy fires out 4,300.
Wastes no time betting it. Bob's also got that top pair, but he's got Guy out kicked.
Just calls.
Carrie's got the nut low.
And Burchell will leave it to the 2 Canadians.
It's a Canadian mating call.
Turn 3 of clubs.
Changes nothing. Guy looking like he wants to fire at this again. He's got top pair as well as a gut shot.
And why shouldn't he? He's playing $2.5 billion behind. He bet 8,100.
It's a pretty big bet, but the board didn't get any worse for Bob, so I don't see how he could fold now.
Bob makes the call.
Guy drawing awfully thin.
So we'll see a river. 7 of spades pairs the board. He fires again, 16,000.
I just got value town big time, I think. Yep. Population 1.
Great school districts in Value Town.
Population 1, Huggy. Value town, population 1.
And no traffic.
Yep. Welcome to my world. 16. What can you do with 16,000? You can do a lot with 16,000. You can go to like...
Not a space for sure.
Not space, no. I don't think so.
Count that one out.
Scrap space. Yeah. I can maybe like change the oil in the Bugatti.
Bugatti's a $1.5 million car.
Barely. Barely.
Guy has 2 of them.
All right, here's the oil change for you, Guy.
10.
I got you.
And Bob wins.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
That's the sound of a Bugatti breaking down.
Slow roll.
So.
Slow roll. Come on. Knit roll. Knit roll, yes, not slow roll. I know. I mean, he just bet. I mean, I can beat that hand.
Now Guy's Bugatti may go hungry.
If Bob can keep it up, he'll be able to afford the oil change and a new air filter for the Bugatti. Can anyone stop Bob? Find out when we get back on The Big Game. Welcome back to Las Vegas and The Big Game. Cards are in the air.
Bonne digestion.
What's that, bonne suggestion? Good idea.
Wow, thank God he wasn't saying bone suggestion. That would have been weird. And what the? King Queen again.
Of clubs for Vulgaris, raises to 1,400, Kanchelov out.
Poker's original power couple, I call it Queen, suited.
Cannon folds to Duhamel with Queen 10. I guess that would be Quen, Joe.
No, that's just dumb.
Thanks, partner. Duhamel reaching for chips. Calls 1,400. And Guy calls with rags.
Very loose defend from Guy. Must be a blackjack player.
Lucky he doesn't have to double down in this spot. Flop. 6, Jack, 6. Laliberte checks.
Over to Bob, who has the best hand. And also he has the best hand. Let's see if he c-bets.
He does, 2,400.
Duhamel's got nothing but queen high and a backdoor straight draw.
Well, he's got a can-do-Hamel attitude. Makes the call.
Nice float.
Laliberte's out.
Doesn't Duhamel know he's up against Queen? He has no shot.
No, we're the only ones who can see the whole cards, Joe. Ace of diamonds on the turn.
Both pick up a gut shot. Both have a blocker for the other.
King-queen. Still the best hand, Joe.
Queen.
Bob bets 5,700. And Duhamel's done with it.
Bob was bluffing, but his nothing was better than Duhamel's nothing, so good fold, Jonathan. You know, I'm not really comfortable calling king-queen nothing. I mean, it's queen.
And it was worth 15,000 to Bob on that hand without even having to pair it.
So Scott, king-queen or queen takes down another pot, and here's what I can tell you about the history of queen here in the big game. Since the very first hand dealt in Season 1, it appeared 173 times, and players go to war with it. King-queen is seen flop 73% of the time, and if we look at its combined success record pre-flop and post-flop, we learn that it's not a winning hand. What? With 84 wins to 89 losses, that can't be right. But here's where it gets fun. When it has lost, it's been for a lot less money than when it's won. So when it comes to the stat that counts the most, queen is a profitable hand with almost $500,000 to its name here on the big game.
I feel like I'm watching Game of Thrones. Burchell, pocket queens, all the single ladies.
That was cool. I want to do more of those.
Raises to 1,800.
Oh, now I want one with queens.
Duhamel folds. You get everything you want. I'm sure they'll do it. Ace-4 for Mercier.
Evian's just better for my voice. Jason's got position on the cannon.
Calls 1,800.
Guy's got position on everyone.
And that guy never stopped smiling, and why should he? King 10 of diamonds. Calls 1,800. Bob Vulgaris with the ace-deuce.
Weak ace out of position. Action in front of him still.
Lets it go. Jack 9 of clubs for Eugene Kachalov. Makes the call.
And all you need to know is that joke was so good we couldn't air it on TV.
So we'll have four-way action to the flop. Trey 4. Kachalov checks.
Jason paired his 4. Everyone else missed pretty hard. Still, Carey should bet this.
Bets 6,600.
Jason does have top pair.
And lets it go.
A little surprising. Carey gets mad cred, yo.
Guy out. And Kachalov folds. So Carey will get some back.
Carey came off a bunch tonight, making an incorrect hero call against Jason Mercier, but she got right back on the horse, and look at that, she's stacking chips again already.
So our loose cannon will finish the night with a profit of almost 12 grand. Bob Vulgaris continues on cruise control. He's up over 123K.
Mercier is up 40 dimes, while billionaire Laliberte is down 46. Kachalov can't seem to win a hand. He's stuck 50 large. And the main event champ is not doing well in our cash game. Duhamel is down over 78 grand.
All right, guys, that's it for the night. Carey, you had a bit of a rough night. Are you still confident?
I'm still confident. It's just a slight misstep, miscalculation, but I'm still up. It's okay.
Not nervous?
Never.
Still good?
Still good.
Jason, when are you and Bob going to go head-to-head? That's what I want to know.
What do you mean? He beats me every time I play a pot against him.
Well, you're up a little, but he's up more.
I know, he's killing me.
Am I needling you too much?
No, it's fine. I can take it.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. Good night, everybody.
So Bob Vulgaris holds court another night on the big game while our cannon slightly wilts. See if she can spring to life tomorrow night. For Stapes, this is Huff saying so long from Vegas.
What's up, Eugene?
Not much. Trying to get some going.
With who? The loose cannon?
Hmm?
Do you want to get something going with the loose cannon? No, I mean, like, not like that. You know what I mean? Like her chips.
Her chips?
Is there a bounty on my chips?
You want to pull up a seat?
Hmm?
Pull up a seat.
I wish.
The preceding program was sponsored by PokerStars.net.